I want to tell you a couple stories to make you guys understand something. Your life is already changing for the better. In due time, it will present itself. Let me tell you a couple stories. There's one of my executive directors in this room, Tarek Bakil. You guys know Tarek. Let me tell you a story about Tarek, how I met Tarek. Back in 2010, Yolanda and I went on vacation. We went to Cuba. In Cuba, Yolanda made friends with a lady named Jennifer, not my Jennifer, but another Jennifer. That lady, Jennifer, introduced us to a guy. Oh, but Jennifer joined our old business, then quit. Jennifer hired a guy, David. He quit. David hired a girl named Sarah. She quit. Sarah hired a girl named Jennifer Wheatcroft. Jennifer Wheatcroft was in business with me in 2010. Quit after a year because I was a jerk. She'll confirm that. And then 3 or 4 years later, came back to the company under someone else. That's how much of a jerk I was, okay? And then when she heard we left and we came to Experior, she picked up the phone and called and followed me here, okay? And then Jennifer Wheatcroft introduced Tarek Bakil to the company. Tarek Bakil, you were recruited into my life. It started in 2010. I want you to understand that, guys, okay? I'll tell you another story of a gentleman named Francis Sinde. Francis and Diane Sinde, another stud. Well, Francis's story started in 2009 because another stud by the name of Rayon White decided to email me when he came back to Canada from Florida, and he was with the other company in Florida, and decided to come back to Canada, decided to email me. Funny enough, I was one of the only people in the company at the time that actually had a presence online, and somehow Rayon found me on the internet and decided to email me to learn more about the old company, okay? He joined the business. He then hired a lady named Beverly who's in the room. Beverly hired her son, Nana, okay? Nana's not in the business anymore today, but Nana one day decided 2 years ago, one day, just one day only, okay? He decided to prospect on LinkedIn, and he prospected a guy named Mitchell. Mitchell talked to a guy named Paul in Calgary. Paul talked to a guy named Raymond. Raymond talked to a guy named Francis. Francis is in the business today. Francis, you came into my life in 2009. We just didn't know it yet. Okay, guys? And I want to tell you the last story. I want to tell you the last story about the person who's responsible for all this. But here's what I want to tell you. I was working at Costco. Gosh, I don't remember how long ago it was. Back in 1999. I worked at Costco from 1995 to 2000, guys. I was a forklift driver who graduated in college with an IT background. I knew nothing about finances, okay? But here's what happened. I met Yolanda. Yolanda lived in Woodbridge. I was working in Scarborough. Her brother worked at the Costco with me. She wanted a part-time job. He got her the job there. She drove from Woodbridge to Toronto to work at that Costco. I saw her, and I instantly fell in love with her, okay? And we began dating. We dated for about a year and a half, and I met her aunt. And her aunt said to me, you got to come work for me. She works at Blinds to Go. And I went to go work at Blinds to Go. And at Blinds to Go, the lady who was training me was actually a friend of Mauro's. And yeah, ex-friend of Mauro, we'll just leave it at that. And this lady says to me that, it's actually Mauro's first wife for the record, guys, okay? But she said to me, my husband runs a financial services business. He's looking for guys. I think you should talk to him. I went, okay. That's what I said. That was in 1999, okay? And what ended up happening from there is I met Mauro and went into business with him. And true story, guys, shortly thereafter, Mauro and his wife separated, and me and Yolanda broke up. And a lot of you guys don't know this, but we were apart for about 4.5 years, okay? Now let's fast forward, because here's what happened. Mauro and I, by the way, both today are in 100% agreement that those women were in our lives at that time for him and I to meet, okay? Now watch what happens, guys. You want to talk about destiny? When Mauro came to my home at 21 years old, 22 years old, to sit down with my parents, my dad starts talking to him, and this is a true story, guys. My father says to him, what's your last name? And Mauro says, Arturi. My father looks at me and says, Arturi? And he says, yeah. And my dad says, do you know Dino Arturi? And Mauro says, yeah. That's my brother. And my father, in typical Italian fashion, says, "You son of a bitch!" He says, "I know you and your brother!" He says, okay? My father and Mauro's brother grew up together back home in Italy. You understand this, guys? Here, I'll blow you away even more. My great uncle, who was like a grandfather to me, my father's uncle, Uncle Vince, okay? Yes, we're Italian. We're not in the mob, okay? Uncle Vince, okay? Ready for this, guys? Proposed to Mauro's mother. It's crazy, guys. It's crazy. Let me fast forward, guys. There's no inbreeding. Is that what I'm hearing? No, there's no inbreeding. Guys, let me tell you something. 4.5 years later, I went to one of my cousin's birthday parties, and I was there, and this birthday party was thrown at a place that Yolanda and I had gone to many times, and all of a sudden, 4.5 years later, I started thinking about her, and I decided to call her. And she's right there, guys. You guys can ask her. And I decided to call her that night. I hadn't seen her and talked to her in 4.5 years, and I called her, and I said to her, "Hi, Yolanda." I said, "It's Frank." And she went silent on the phone. And I was like, "Okay, I'm sorry, I'll hang up," right? I thought I'm in trouble. And she says, "No," she says, "I just came back from a tour in Italy, and I couldn't stop thinking about you for some reason, and I told my aunt, and I was going to call you tomorrow." 4.5 years later, we hadn't spoken once in that time period, guys. Do you understand? And then we ended up getting married a couple years later. This time, she wasn't going to let me get away, guys, okay, right? And finally, I know my time's done. I want to say this last thing, okay? Finally, by the way, to my beautiful wife, who allows me to do what I do. She allows me to serve you guys all the time, anytime. And you're the entire reason why this exists for me. Because if you had never walked into my life, none of this would have happened, guys. Okay? You're the entire reason that I am here and I'm standing here before you. And I want you to know that I love you so much and I thank you. Finally, I want to say this. Where's Orville? Is Orville Wentworth in the room? No? Orville, Don, this close. I could have been under you this close, bro. This close. Guys, on October 21st, 2015, I'm going to finish with this. Orville Wentworth prospected me on LinkedIn. And he had talked to me about this company, and he mentioned the owner, the CEO of the company, he mentioned his name, Jamie Prickett. And we came from the same company, and they had done a great job spreading lies and rumors about Jamie. And when Orville tried to recruit me on February 21st, 2015, I had said, and I have it in writing, and I showed Jamie this, it said, to go into business with Jamie Prickett, never going to happen. Guys, on February 23rd, 2016, almost a year to the day later, we resigned from the old company to go into business with Jamie and Leanne Prickett. Let me finish with this. Your life is already changing for the better. In due time, it will present itself. You have 3 responsibilities. Number 1, have faith. Number 2, be grateful. And number 3, do the damn work. I love you guys so much. Thank you.
Hey, if you like this video or any of the other videos that I have on my channel, stay tuned. We have so many more coming, but I want to make sure that you're in the know, that you know when they're coming. So please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and make sure you hit the notification bell.